Hello, I'm BXToyCat and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be trying something new on my channel. I'm going to be calling a mega build. This is where I'll be showing you a giant pixel art tutorial, but also combining it with some cool building tips to use on the inside of it. This is because, you know, one of the coolest concepts in this world that I really like and a lot of viewers have been liking is when there's a giant pixel art block, but also has some functionality on the inside, like this giant mossy cobblestone block that has a redstone edge on the inside. Or if you look at the giant beacon over there, it also functions as a quadruple beacon for 4 separate beacon powers, and my giant chest room, you can probably guess what's going on here, it's inside a giant chest. There's a lot of really cool things you can do that make ultra functional buildings that also just look amazing, and one of the big opportunities towards this is the giant furnace I used to have here. So what I'm going to be showing you is how to make an awesome massive furnace room step by step. Hopefully it's a tutorial you do enjoy. If it is, please do like the video and let me know you like it. It lets me know you want to see more stuff like this and just lets me know you like the channel in general. Anyway, let's get straight into the video then, shall we? So let's start with the most key part of the furnace, which is building the thing. So usually I do this step by step, but the thing about this build is it's so brilliantly simple that I think I'd be insulting you to show how to build it step by step. So basically, you just want to have 16 by 16 like box on the outside with these dark grey wool blocks, and then it's just stone everywhere else. Like it literally is just fill the top with stone, fill the sides with stone. If you want, you can have like kind of a grayscale color thing here with the light grey wool, but honestly this doesn't add too much to the furnace. You could have the entire thing be stone, it wouldn't have any effect. It's very, very simple to build except for the front bit here, which is a tiny bit more complex, but still very, very simple, because as you can see here, you want to have a black bit here, which is the top bit of the furnace, and then you want to have a bit here, which we're going to light up using red, orange, and yellow bits of wool, and that's how we're going to do this. So this top bit here, so like you can see, just build it so it's like this, and then the top bit, you're going to want to fill this with black wool. It's very, very simple. If you don't have black wool and you need a replacement block like coal blocks, then that's a clever way to do it. But I do reckon black wool is probably going to give you the best look, at least in my opinion, and then either use stone for these or use light grey wool if you used it here. I have used light grey wool there, so I'm actually going to use it up here too. This wool right here, so you just throw that there, and it goes there. It does, like, having, getting this to replicate perfectly is always going to be tricky, but I think this is the closest you can get, and then making this bit down here look like it's on fire is actually going to be a little bit tricky. So an easy way to kind of cheat your way out of this, and it's not already cheating because it gives you the exact way it should look, is if instead we go here and we put some pork chops in there, and we now have a lit up furnace that we can just copy it over there. So if you look over there, it's red, the far left is red, orange, red. And then the next one was like red, orange, something. Wait, yeah. So, but just by simply copying it like this, we can get the lit furnace and just take it over there. So I think I got that one right. And yeah, you just copy the thing over there. This can be done with so many pixel art things, and it's such a useful little tip. So, actually, if we look over here, you can see a little handy little tip. We can just do this in blocks, and all you want to do is leave a few blocks open for an entrance. You can have this entrance be as big or as small as you want it to be, but obviously you need to have enough blocks there so it still looks like it's on fire, or you lose the entire point of the illusion, at least in my opinion. So here you can see on the right there's a lot more red, and on the left there's a lot more yellow. So it looks like this bit here is actually a triple yellow block. The way I like to do this is just find random patterns. Like I noticed this was a backwards Tetris shape, put that in there, and yeah, this can be done for so many little pixel art things. And I think we just need to now finish up a lot of these blocks, and we've got something almost there. This obviously isn't a proper entrance, but we just need to finish off a few more blocks, and then we're ready to go. So the bottom there should be red and then orange, and that's as simple as that. I guess we'll have like a yeah, I want to place a couple more blocks down there so we can have like a 2x3 entrance. So it's big, but it's not so big that it's just like you can see the entire thing from the outside. You got to keep some of the surprise waiting. So there you go, red and then orange. And now just a few more blocks, so red, orange, yellow, orange. You might be confused with the things I'm doing, but I'm just, copying the pattern order. And now we just need 2 more blocks, and we've got that entrance sorted. So this next 2 blocks is actually just orange, yellow, orange, which I actually just did there, and then it's yellow, yellow. So as simple as this, we've got ourselves an entrance to a furnace room that looks like it's on fire. Obviously, I've got these hearts in the way because I did a tutorial on armor and health, but you can see from the front here, it does look like it's a genuinely lit furnace. I think this is a pretty cool effect, but there we go. That simple. Just by using a bunch of stone and a few wool blocks, we've got ourselves an amazing looking furnace room. But you might notice the next problem we're going to face is the inside isn't well lit. You can leave some holes in the ceiling because most people aren't going to notice those, and that's an easy way to do it until you light up the place. Also, you get this really weird lighting glitch. But one thing that I much prefer doing is instead, because we need to floor this place anyway, to save ourselves, some actual wool and just, placing the floor or even some stone, what we can do is if you place glowstone in the floor like this, you can make the glowstone not visible to most people, so we'll just have one in each corner, I guess. We can place them all later, but as long as we have one of these all the way around the place, then you can see we've lit up most of the place. So we have Yeah, it's mostly not dark now because by furnaces anyway, so just by having 4 glowstone blocks and then cover them with carpet, because of the way carpet works, it's not even a half block. you can see the glowstone light will still go through it no matter how much carpet you place around it, which means now there's no visible light, but it looks like just because the place is on fire, the place is lit. It's a handy little tip, and it makes for a pretty cool furnace room if you ask me. And I just want to cover the place in dark grey wool, or light grey, depends on what you think should be at the bottom of the furnace. It doesn't really matter too much. I think I like dark grey, it kind of fits the theme a little bit better. But, you know, neither of them is going to be perfect. I think dark grey just does it a little bit better. So yeah, you want to cover the place right now, but you want to make sure you leave out the corners, because these corners are going to be where the furnaces are. The downside carpet is because, even though it's not a full block, you can't place blocks on it. As you can see, they just go up like that. And I guess that makes sense. If you want to place blocks, you remove them. And that's what we've done at the corners here. So we can have furnaces going all the way along there. Just like that. So yeah, leave out the corner blocks, but everything else you're going to want to cover in your carpet like so. So that's just going to be as simple as this. We're also going to leave out this corner because we can do some cool things with that. Everything else, though, we want to cover carpet. We'll finish this off in a second, but for now, that's most of the carpet done. In fact, yeah, it's pretty much all of it. We can finish this off very easily just by going along here. So next up, we want to have a big furnace wall. So this is something simple. This isn't a cool little furnace build, but I think, you know, so the key part of any furnace room is having a bunch of furnaces. So we just cover one wall with furnaces entirely, all the way for 3 blocks. This will give us, I believe, if I'm counting right, 13, because this is a 16 by 16 pixel thing. This will give us 13 by 3 separate furnaces to use, which is, of course, quite a lot. And, yeah, that's 39 furnaces. This can be my stone wall. So now we've got 39 furnaces dedicated to stone. Obviously, now you need to fill them with coal, but, you know, that's something you can do later. And then in the middle of this, if you can try and locate the middle perfectly, I think it's going to be roughly here, you can have yourself a little item frame on there. Which actually just has your stone in the picture. So if we can grab some stone now. Where's the stone now? I always have problems finding stone because it's the first block and you never expect it. Now you place stone there. Now it's clear this whole wall is dedicated to stone. And then you could have this wall be dedicated to different types of food. So you could have, like, you know, a pork chop on the left side, then like a cooked chicken on the right side, a baked potato in the middle. And this will be the, you know, the food furnace wall. The next side can be, like, I don't know, cactus greens and, I don't know, bricks and stuff. And basically, by just sectioning off the place like this, you can have different walls dedicated to different things. If you need more than 39 furnaces for stone, then, of course, you could have a different floor be dedicated to that, because this will be a multi-floor building. Because the big problem with furnaces is, if we just had this being furnaces all the way to the top, like this, is you wouldn't be able to reach any of them past, I think it's 3 or 4 furnaces, and no one wants to not be able to reach the furnaces they put things in. So basically the way we're going to do this is we're going to have a multi-floor system, but for now you just need to know that most of this floor should be covered in furnaces like so. So there you can see we've got a lot of furnaces. The room's starting to come together already, but we do have some more stuff we need to do, including a cool little build which I like to call the lazy furnace. So this is going to double as our staircase, so we can do 2 things at once. But yeah, we're going to need, first of all, to go into the wall here, break off 2 blocks. Yeah, this is what I like to call the lazy furnace design. This is for, you know, those times when it's just like, what do you want to, you know, what do you want to cook? I don't know, I'm just lazy. Let me just throw this in a furnace and get it. So the first thing you want to do is place down a hopper, then place down a hopper linking into that hopper, then remove the first hopper and make that hopper link into the second one. That might have been a lot of words, but basically, it's just so this whole thing works. And then what you want to do is come over here and link, put a comparator in front of it like so. So, actually, a comparator in front of the other one. So we'll grab a comparator from over here. Put it just, we need to get the hops out, so we'll put it there, I guess. And then we'll grab some redstone for instead of the red wool. And you want to place this next to one of the, like, the hoppers. And the basic idea behind this is now if we put something in the hopper, let's put in protection 4. Now protection 4 is powering our automatic lazy furnace, because now we're going to have a bit of redstone over here. And just over here, we're actually going to have ourselves a dispenser. We can use the dropper, which is just as fine, but I'm going to use the dispenser just to get that slightly cooler little thing. And you want to have that facing upwards. The reason we're going to do this is because now over here, we're going to have a hopper linking into this, and there's going to be a furnace above this, and then this is part of our staircase. We have a hopper link into the side of the furnace here, and a hopper link into the top here. So if you missed all the parts going into this, this basically means that if you throw in, you know, something you want to cook here, and you throw in fuel here, it will cook it, then throw it out, and then, you know, 13 ticks later, because it works in kind of ticks there, it will actually throw out your food. So let's show you what I'm talking about here. So let's grab some coal, just 3 bits of it. So I went out and I killed some pigs, and I also, you know, I mined some coal, and I'm too lazy to go to one of the main furnaces, so I'm just like, I'll throw it in the lazy furnace. So you just go like this, throw it all in there, and I think a lot of this went in there, yeah, it did, because I messed up, but you just want to throw it all in there, you know, actually go on top of the thing to get better aim, and then once it's all in there, it will just automatically cook for you, so you can go about your day. If you want, make the rest of these stairs hoppers, by the way, so it actually you know, matches the theme. And here we go, this is the second floor. So, as you can see, what will actually happen is it will automatically cook the food, go into the hopper, and then come out the dispenser, which is always clicking on. And it's a pretty cool way to do this whole thing. As you can see, it just means you stand here and you're like, oh, I want to eat, and you just eat. And instead of having to go in and out of the furnace, checking if your stuff's done, it pops out when it's ready. There's none of that whole thing. And I think that's a really cool way to actually do your stuff. The downside is there's always ticking, so you might want to have a way of turning this off. That's something that might be useful. But yeah, now the really cool thing about this is you can actually cover this whole thing in carpet. And even while it's covered in carpet, it still functions exactly the same. You're still going to get your stuff out there. And you can even cover the redstone, cover this, cover that. And boom, you've got yourself a pretty much covered thing. So underneath this block right here, you actually want to use yourself. I'll just use stone. But you want to use the same color of grey, so it looks like it's just a lower bit of the carpet. There it looks like stone, so it kind of fits the theme going on there. But as you can see, there's one more thing to cook. You'll see it'll still go through the carpet because carpet doesn't count as a real block, which is really, really cool. There we go. We've got the last bit of thing. And I just think that's an awesome way of doing that. Anyway, so let's move on to the second floor. Oh, actually, we'll finish up carpeting the floor. Here, you can see that the place really comes together, this sort of stuff, because you can have these cool contraptions around the place. Because the furnace room, you don't really need 87 furnaces. I think this is more than 87. Yeah, this is 117 maybe furnaces. There's a lot of furnaces here. You don't really need them all, but so you can have the impressive feel of like, I have too many furnaces just in case I need them. We're going to have a second floor, and the second floor is going to mirror this first floor. And if we go along here like that, you'll see it's going to look something like this. It'll kind of close in the room a little bit, but it makes the furnaces seem that much more impressive. Also, we covered up the staircase. That was probably a bad idea. But now you just want to cover the second floor and then have a bunch more furnaces here. And then you can just keep on doing that. And once you're done with this, you have the most epic furnace room really ever, because you'll be able to see that along that wall you have more furnaces. Then there's can be a third floor and a fourth floor. And like I said, you can do so many just cool things using these furnaces in the center. You can have a floor dedicated to the Museum of Furnace. You can do so many cool things, and you can even store your chests up here if you want to. I wouldn't recommend it because you can have a dedicated chest building, but still, this is the most basic look at how you can make a mega furnace building. I'll actually, do a few changes, and I'll come back and show you around it, but this is the basic idea. I hope you've enjoyed it, and let's quickly jump cut. Okay, so I went off and made a few basic changes. Here's a tour of the thing once it's done. As I said, most of the big parts I did in the thing. But here you can see I've got the signs up, so you can see this is the cobblestone wall, or the stone wall, where you smelt cobblestone stone. This is where you smelt your steak. This is where you smelt your chickens, your pork chops, your baked potatoes, your nether bricks, and your regular bricks. Then we go up a floor, it's the more obscure stuff, and you can see we've got our redstone ore cooking, which, by the way, you can actually cook redstone ore. It's one of the most inefficient ways to do anything, because you require a silk touch pickaxe, but it's something you can totally do if you want to. You can also cook your fishes, you can cook your charcoal, which, given you have, over 200 furnaces in this place, you're going to need that. And then I figured the third floor, rather than just doing more of this, which you can totally do, I'd have the Museum of Furnacery. So, here's my guided tour of the history of furnaces in Minecraft. So, back in the day, we used to use lava. I mean, the very first flammable thing found in the world. A lot of people died because obviously you go in and you're on fire, but it was an effective way if you could bounce the things off it. If I show you right here, if you get yourself some raw chicken, you can sometimes kind of bounce it off the edges and save your chicken, which a lot of the time you can't, but sometimes you can. So we used to use lava. A lot of people died, and no one really cooked anything, but still, it was the first step in the thing. Then, back in the medieval ages of Minecraft, we found the flint and steel, which allowed us to make eternal fires. And these are slightly less dangerous than lava, but still not quite as good. And then finally today, we have the furnaces. And because this is a museum, of course, I figured I'd have an attraction, which is see what it's like inside a furnace. It's not a very safe attraction, because I just kind of lead a lot of people to their death, but it's a cool attraction nonetheless. And then, as a sneaky way out, you don't even know you've been in the museum, because you just fall down and you're like, wait a minute, I was just here. So there, that's my that's my giant furnace house tour thing. This was just kind of joke thing, but this is a great way if you want to cook lots of stuff at the same time to have something that looks awesome on the outside, but it's also incredibly functional on the inside. You can play around with your own Museum of Furnacery if you want to. That's not awful like mine. And the furnace just went out. You can also do a bunch of really cool things. I think it's awesome personally, but of course I would, because that's why I made this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video if you did like it, share it if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here. I make videos like this every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them down on your homepage. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.